Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Let's Get Chattin podcast. Before I get into today, I do want to remind everybody to hit my socials. Just give me a like, follow, subscribe, do all that good shit, you know. We are on all of them at Let's Get Chattin pod. So basically your Instagrams, your YouTubes, your Spotifys, your freaking TikToks. If it's available, I'm there. And yeah, just go hit it and hit that button, the heart one and something. And basically it's the algorithm. We need the algorithm, people. So do it. That's all I ask. And also we do have merch, as you can see. Boom, boom, boom. Get at me on Instagram if you want to get a hold of that. Let's Get Chattin is more than just a podcast name. It is just telling you to get talking to people about yourself, your mind, your body. So do that shit. And today we are welcoming Gretchen with us. Gretchen, yes. Gretchen. We'll go Gretchen. Cool, I got it. And yeah, Gretchen's going to tell us her story. Had a pretty wild ride. And just a PSA for everybody, there is going to be some talk about, we'll call it, trying not to get banned off YouTube, attempting a certain something. I'll leave it at that, and then I'll let you tell the rest when we get there, Gretchen.
Got it.
So yeah, I mean, what we'll do is I'd like to just tell us a bit about yourself before we start, just generally where you're at now with life and what is life for you at the moment.
Oh, life for me now is the busiest I've ever been in, like, forever. I own my own company, and I'm getting to do the things that make me happy, and I'm living the life. I'm living the life that I didn't think I had 2.5 years ago.
And what is the company, if you don't mind me asking?
The name of my company is Schoser Talent and Wellness Solutions. So I get to do both my tech side and my wellness side all in one company.
Awesome.
And I also co-host 2 podcasts. So I'm a little busy.
Busy lady. Yeah, you and me both. I try. I always say I live off momentum. Like, if I'm not doing something, I can't do the next thing. So I just have to keep going and going and going and going until I hit the deck.
Yeah, that happened to me yesterday. I hit the deck yesterday. I'm like, ooh, today was rough.
Yeah. These things happen. Like, you know, I'm a busy guy. Like I say, I think that's. I know we're going to get into like mental health and things, but I think that's for me a way of like dealing with sort of anything I do is just to keep moving and keep going. You know, it's bad really, because I feel like it does just put a lot of things backwards, and I shouldn't do that. And it is something I'm working on. You know, I do try and have time to reflect, but because I'm constantly going, I feel like I just don't have time to stop and, you know.
It happens to the best of us, man. It happens to the best of us. I have to put like hard stops in my calendar just so I stop. Otherwise, I'm a little workaholic.
It could be there could be worse things.
There could be worse things, right? Like, I just like to work. Idle hands for me are not a good place to be.
100%. So, so let's hear about sort of what I want to do is find out about. Let's get the nitty gritty of it. Is people what we're going to be talking about is Gretchen. Should we say unfortunately?
Yep. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately or fortunately didn't do something that you were attempting to do. That's the right way to say it?
That's the right way to say it. Yep.
Okay, perfect. But what I want to do before we get to that is sort of find out a bit about the before and maybe what sort of led to that, or what you believe led to that, and where maybe where your headspace was at, and how we can sort of let the listeners know how to sort of avoid that or get, help themselves before getting to that situation.
100%. So, like, my whole story started in the fall of 2022. I am a complete extrovert and an introvert, and I was taking care of everybody else, but I wasn't taking care of me. So I got offered an early retirement, and in all ways that should have been good. But for me, I was 59 and a half at the time it happened. Mm-hmm. And then you think about like ageism in the workforce, and, I like my bougie toys, and, I was thinking about, wow, am I going to be able to get a job if I take this early retirement? But at the same time, I worked at a really toxic environment. Yeah. And I just wanted to check out of there, because the week before that email came, I was like, man, I got to win the lottery. And then the email came. I was like, oh, holy crap, this is awesome. And then I was like, oh, shit. And then, like, around the same time, my wife got shingles. So if you've ever been around anybody that's had shingles, it is debilitating. There's absolutely nothing you can do to make that person feel better.
Okay.
Then I hit and killed a deer. This is all like within the month of October. Hit and killed a deer, and then I got catfished. Thankfully, like my mind clicked enough to like come out of this like funk I was in to not spend any money, but it was horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And then, November comes, and a really good friend of ours passed away unexpectedly. Work was starting to slowly peel back my responsibilities. It was a job I'd had for 15 years.
Yeah.
And then my father-in-law passed away 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Shit.
So then, here comes December, and here I'm showing up to work every single day with a bright smile on my face. Everything's going good. People would ask me questions. Yeah, I'm living the dream. And on the inside, all I wanted to do was die. I was just done.
You were just masking.
I was masking. And like, if you're an extrovert, this is my PSA for anybody that's an extrovert. If you're wearing that mask, take it down, because the only person you're hurting is yourself. Mm. So then, here comes December, some holiday depression, some seasonal depression. And then 2 weeks before Christmas, we were in New York City, and I had some very not typical behavior for myself. I got really drunk. I slipped and fell in the hotel room. I lost my cell phone, and I'm having to buy a new cell phone. And at that point, people should have been picking up that I was not okay.
Yeah.
And then Christmas morning, I just wanted to go for a drive. But it was minus 22 Fahrenheit here. Went out to go in the car, and the car wouldn't start. And by that time, I was just defeated. Nothing was going my way. I couldn't find my voice, and I couldn't find my footing. I didn't understand what was happening. I just didn't feel like me, like the good extrovert that I was. And so I came inside, went upstairs. I had a bottle of pills waiting for me on my dresser. Poured the pills into my palm of my hand. And as I'm doing that, there's this glimmer of hope that things were going to get better and that I didn't need to do this. So I picked up the phone and called 988, which is the suicide crisis hotline here in the United States. And the woman that answered that phone was the most compassionate person I've ever spoken to. I'm alive today because of that phone call. She gave voice to what was going on in my head. I was seriously depressed. But being someone that had never experienced that level of depression, because there was a lot of things that happened in a really short period of time, I didn't understand it. I didn't have a voice or footing, and she gave me those tools, right? So I was able to go downstairs and talk to my wife. And for, at that time we'd been together for 28 years. She had no idea how depressed I was. None. Mm. No, not my friends, not my family, not my coworkers. Nobody knew how depressed I was. And so the next day, I opened up to social media. I have 1,000 friends, a bazillion thousand friends out there. And I wanted to let them know what was going on, because now that I figured out what was going on with me, I didn't want to hold it in anymore. Yeah. And I had over 200 people reach out to me and say thank you, because now they felt seen and heard and not as terrified and alone in their own journey as I'd felt in mine. And it was an awakening. It was truly awakening. And, for people that are friends to extroverts, my piece of advice to you is don't ask us open-ended questions. Ask us a question that we actually have to answer.
Yeah,
Like, how's your mental health today? What's going on in your life? Don't ask me like, hey, how's your day going? Because I'm going to tell you what my standard answer was. I'm living the dream. But on the inside, I was like, we're not living the dream at all.
Yeah, I always say to people, like, I've always got this idea in my head is like, because somebody's like, especially here in England, like, you're right, mate, is just, hi. Essentially, you're right, mate, is hello. So I always try and, like, I'll say, how you doing? And they'll say, yeah, I'm all right. I'll be like, yeah, but how are you doing? Like dig a little bit deeper. And I think I'm a bit of I class myself as like a bit of an extroverted introvert. I'm a strange breed of person. Online, at work, I'm the most outgoing, crazy person you'll ever meet. But if I walk down the street, don't talk to me. That's just me. You know, it's a very odd mix. But I'm the same. I've realized, you know, a lot of my sort of life going to my younger 20s has been me putting out a front of me being Jack the lad down the pub, me being the Joker, me being this guy, you know, all of that. And then as I got older, I definitely realized that isn't me at all. You know, it was something I was doing to sort of pretend to be something I wasn't, or to hide something, all of that stuff. And I think asking the hard questions is the hardest but most important thing that people can do these days. I mean, it, with regards to if we take a little step back in your journey for a second, you say about, you know, it was unlike you to go and have a drink and get drunk. Do you feel like the reason you went and drank and got drunk was because of your mental state at that point?
Oh yeah, I was really trying to just check out. You know, we had started drinking at like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh shit!
And like I hadn't had any food in me. You know, got super drunk. Mm-hmm. Lost my phone in the cab in the Uber. You know, if you've ever lost your phone, it's a heart-stopping moment. Literally,
you are like, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah, I was literally like, what the fuck do I do? Like, I'm not going to be able to get into work on Monday. Mm-hmm. Like all these things. And, you know, I had gone upstairs and I had taken a little nap in the hotel, and my suitcase was right by the window. And, you know, I'm short. I'm 4'11". So if somebody like 6 foot had done this, they'd been fine. But I went to my suitcase to get my suitcase, and it slipped out from underneath me. And I fell and hit the window frame in the hotel and broke my nose. My nose is still broken. I never got it fixed. Shit. But here's the great thing is it holds my glasses up. So, you know, I'm okay with it. It's a win. But, you know, we had to call around and find a Verizon place that was open so I could go get a phone. Then like spent the whole next day at the Apple store. Yeah. Because here's the problem. I was still drunk when all this went to go happen. I couldn't remember my passwords. I couldn't remember anything. So
crap.
You know, it was heart-wrenching. It just, you know, totally, I was off kilter, and I'm just surprised like nobody saw how messed up I was, because it was so out of character for me.
Sure, and that's the thing I find is with a lot of people, you know, I've said many times on this podcast, I've lost friends close to me via, you know, taking their own life, and it's very, very hard to see where people are at. And especially these days, I find, you know, because I'm not a massive drinker myself. I'll maybe have a couple of cans a week at home kind of guy. You know, that's how I do it. If I do it, should I say. But I think if I decided, you know, Friday night, I'm going to go out and get absolutely rattled, people wouldn't think twice, because it's sort of a thing to do as well. It is something you do once in a while. So I can understand why it would be hard to see that. But again, not knowing you prior to today, I don't know how, you know, the ins and outs. So you obviously a lot of shit went down for you prior to this.
So much shit.
And you would say it was a build up of said shit?
Oh, a huge buildup. You know, like a lot of it, I just couldn't walk away from. You know, being an empath, you know, we take everybody else's pain.
Sure.
We don't take care of ourselves, but we want to take care of everybody else in the world. And I did a fine job of that. Did not do such a fine job of doing any self-love or self-care for myself. Like at that time, I didn't know what boundaries were.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to say the word no. Mm-hmm. Man, the most powerful word in the whole world. No.
You are preaching to the fucking choir right now, because you sound exactly like I was a few years back. Before I had my son, I was a yes man. Anybody wanted anything, fuck him, right, I'll do it. And then you realise that you don't get it back a lot of the time, no. Do you? You know? And you do, as you get older, I find your circle gets smaller due to that exact realisation. So with regards to like the things that were happening before, were you talking to anybody about that sort of thing, or do you find that's one of the worst things you did?
Yeah, it was the absolute worst thing I did. I didn't tell anybody. Absolutely nobody knew how I felt because, at my age, at that time, I've been raised, we don't talk about what's going on in our head, because there was a lot of shame, a lot of weakness, a lot of stigma around it. And plus, I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand I was so horribly depressed because I'd never felt like that ever in my life. Even when my mom passed away, I wasn't that depressed. But I think it was because there was so much that happened in such a short period of time. I think that, anybody who had gone through that would have been like, fuck. And I'm telling you, like, every day was like, fuck, what else?
That is me at the minute. I'm not going to lie. That is me at the minute. Every day is like something else is going to fucking happen. Jesus, man. It's, and it's hard to stay on top. It's hard to stay on top. Like, I've got a few ways. I do definitely talk to people because that's a massive thing. And for anybody listening as well, I've probably said this before, but if you are struggling and if you feel like something is getting too much, you can talk to anybody. I'm open to DM anything. Talk to me. And that's actually happened. And the people who have reached out to me, fucking hats off to you, man, because I'm a stranger, or I might have been someone you went to school with and we don't talk anymore, but you have messaged me. There's been like 4 of you and I'm fucking glad you did. So I respect you people more than anything in the world, especially coming to someone you don't know, because it must be fucking hard. So because I find with a lot of people with regards to like mental health and how to deal with it, a lot of it stems back to like when they were younger, because how the stigma around the mental health and how people spoke about it or didn't speak about it. Do you feel like that played a massive part in that part of your life in not speaking about it and whatnot?
I think so. I think it's more generational, right? Mm-hmm. Because, people that are in their 20s and 30s are, all about talking about their mental health, and because, they've been told it's okay. But like for people my age, you shut your mouth and you suck it up, buttercup, and just keep going on. And that's kind of what the generation I grew up in.
Rub some dirt in it and crack on, sort of thing.
Crack on. Just you know what? You're fine. Just move on. Power through it. That's the wrong message to send out. Okay.
100%. And what's your opinion on sort of how we could now get past that? Because it's you're talking about your generation, for an example. Let's say my parents, if my dad would never talk to anybody if he felt like shit. No. How do you think we could go against the grain with that? Do you think there's anything we could do? Or
there's so many things we can do. Like for me, you know what? I got a therapist. Who ever thought that, yes, little old me would get a therapist? But I was fucked up in the head and I needed to not be so fucked up. But I think that, there's a couple of things. Number one, be kind. All right? Just be kind to people. The world is completely on fire right now.
You're fucking telling me.
Be kind. It costs you nothing. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. If a friend reaches out to you, there's a great Simon Sinek video out there on YouTube. It's called 8 Minutes. If somebody reaches out to you and they just want to talk, let them talk. Listen with your ears, not with your mouth, because a lot of times what we need is we just need somebody to hear us out.
Yeah, sure.
If you don't have somebody like that you can reach out to, contact a crisis line. They're there for free. They're anonymous. You can contact those crisis lines just to help you get out of that mode or that mood that you're in. They'll get you to that next minute, that next hour, that next day, that next week. And be open to talk about what's going on inside of you, because just keeping it all bottled up does you mental harm, does you physical harm. We just need to be a kinder society and let people air their grievances and stuff that's going on in their head, because you know what? Life's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, 100%.
So much shit that's going on right now. It's really affecting people. So, give people voice.
Yeah, and that's another thing, like, especially like people listening as well, and anybody in the world really, I would say, is like, it used to be, I mean, speaking from experience and what I've seen people say and do, it used to be if you would maybe upload a Facebook status being like, I'm feeling a little bit shitty, blah, blah, blah. Originally on Facebook, it was taken really well. There was people there. And then there became this sort of stigma where people were trying to do it for attention. A lot of people said it was attention seeking. Now, what you don't understand is that I didn't at one point as well. I'm open to admitting this because, don't get me wrong, there are those people are there. The attention, there are people who do it for the attention. We've all seen it, and it's not obvious, but it's better to ask that person and maybe be made a bit of a fool of out of an attention seeker than not ask that person, just in case they might be seriously struggling. But the people who are putting this stuff on social media now, again, I do applaud you, because somebody, just like what happened with Gretchen here, somebody might read what you put and it might fucking help them that one day. And if something you put on Facebook to help yourself helps another person, that's also another reason for you to not do anything, for lack of a better term, stupid. It's not, and with regards to, I don't, this is a bit of a touchy one, so hear me.
It's okay.
With regards to, because you said you were going to take pills, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any reason that was sort of the, again, lack of a better term, method that you wanted to choose, or was it just the easiest?
It was the easiest way to do it because everything was there.
Yeah.
It was sitting there waiting for me. I could have stood outside. It was minus 22. It was horrible outside, but I just wanted to be able to close my eyes and never wake up again.
Sure. The only reason I ask that is because in reality, it's very lucky that was the sort of option you chose, because let's say it was, one of the worst ones, like a noose or something. Once once you've got that around, it's very hard to get out. So I suppose you're very lucky that was sort of the method that you were going to use.
And it was super. It was selfish for me too. Right, because my wife was downstairs. She had no idea that I'd even come back in the house, and but it was that glimmer of hope that things were going to get better. At the time, it seemed like everything was so doom and gloom, and I was just tired. My body was tired, my mind was tired. I'm like, things have got to get better, and they did,
and they will.
They will.
That's a big thing. Like at the minute, I'm like, when the fuck are things gonna start getting? I know at one day they've got to, so I'm sticking it out, people. Unfortunately, well, I'm here, bitches.
Here.
I'm not going fucking nowhere.
He's here. He's not going anywhere. He's gonna stick around forever.
Yeah. And if you're sick of my voice, you're fucked. Deal with it. But me and my fiance, we've had a freaking torrid time recently. Honestly, that it's like you say, it's just boom, 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 constantly. And the bigger thing we're doing about it is talking to each other. And I'm sort of the glimmer of hope in the household. I'm the upbeat guy who tries to be, let's go positive. Don't worry about it. It'll be all right. Don't worry about it. In the back of my head, I'm like, fuck. But, it's fine. It'll be all right. And with regards to like a glimmer of hope, would you say it was was it a physical thing? Was it like a spiritual thing? How would you describe it?
It was more of a spiritual thing. It's just, I have to kind of go back. So we live in a really old house. Our house was built in 1865. And okay. So it's like every time you walk in the house, you feel like you're wrapped in love, right? So I'm sitting in my bedroom. I have my phone. I had the pills in my hand. And I felt a presence. I thought maybe it could have been my mom. It could have been anything, right? Just whispering that, there's things are going to be okay. Yeah. And for people that don't believe in the spiritual world, I can't explain it.
Oh, I do. Don't worry. I am with you.
But it was that voice and that feeling that helped me dial the 988 phone number. I will say this again. I am eternally grateful to be alive. So eternally grateful. They saved my life that day. And I'm I'm one of the fortunate ones because I realized that like I was within 20 minutes of taking my life.
Yeah.
I'm one of those lucky ones that, I just got to thinking about like everybody in my life and, the influences I had on everybody else and like how sad everybody would be. And like, maybe there is a better way. And, joke was on me because things did get better, like way better than I ever envisioned in my entire life.
And sometimes you do hit rock bottom to go upwards, right? Like I always say, like when I've been at my lowest, which was recently, I'll be totally honest, it was within the past 2-3 months, I was probably at the lowest point I've been at in a fucking long time. And I did my thing. I sat in the car on my own. I screamed, I shouted, I fucking cried. I did my thing. I spoke to my friends. I spoke to my fiance. I did everything I needed to do. And then I really sat there and thought, it can't get much worse. It's only going up from here, people. Like, and if you feel, there's, life is, unfortunately, it is peaks and troughs. It is in anyone's life. You have the good and you have the bad, but by the end, it levels out.
It does.
And you will be okay if you just talk. That is the biggest power we have, is our voice. There's a reason we have it, and it's fucking powerful, just like language. I'm a big advocate for, slightly off topic, but I'm a big advocate for like swearing. Like I love swearing. And it's not because I'm angry or violent. It's because sometimes swearing is the best way for me to say how I feel. So if I'm feeling like absolute shit, if I come up to you and say I feel a bit crappy today, that's a very, very different sentence. If somebody comes up to me and like, I feel a bit crap, I'm going to be like, oh, dude, what's up? You good? If I'm like, bro, I feel like shit today, like I'm feeling shit, there's a big difference in how that comes across. Just use your voice. Just use your voice, people.
Yeah, just use your voice. Like I said, for me, the biggest thing I did do is I didn't talk to anybody. Everybody thought I was fine. Every single person thought I was A-okay. I was showing up every day. I was doing my thing. I was making people laugh. I couldn't make myself laugh. And, there were signs. I kind of like checked out. Like I would go out into the living room and lay in the recliner and color and not say anything for like 2 hours. I didn't want to go out with people. I didn't want to put up decorations. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to be left alone.
Yeah, there's what would the signs if I was a person and I had somebody in my life and I thought they were, feeling down and stuff, but they didn't talk, what would you suggest as somebody the signs to look for would be?
Number one, are they giving giving away stuff? Number two, are they like checking out? If they're your extroverted friends and they all of a sudden become introverted, I don't know, there's something going on. If they're just like, if you work with them, right? And like somebody who's a complete people pleaser, right? And they decide, oh, I don't want to please people anymore. And they like just shut down, or they're taking more days off from work than they normally would. Or, you ask them the same question every day. Hey, how you doing? Every day we come back with, oh, we're living the dream. Okay, we're not fucking living the dream. Mm-hmm. Asking more open-ended questions, being that listening person, right? Be like, hey, do you need to talk? If they say no, just, walk away, but like keep at them and, ask them if they, do you need to speak to somebody? Is there like, is there something we can do to help you? Just be a constant in their life. What I've done now is on Sundays, I do self check-ins on text messages, right? It's super easy. Like, hey, how's your mental health this week? Yeah. And, that it brings people back into perspective that you're actually thinking about them. A lot of times as both an empath and an extrovert, like I don't really think about the other people, right? I'm always out there like cheering on everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Fuck me. So too bad, so sad if your life sucks. But you know what? You've got to go out there and make everybody else happy. But I would also say that, if somebody does approach you and they do want to talk, listen. Just all you can do is listen.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that we don't go to our friends is because sometimes we don't need unvetted advice.
Yep.
And telling people to go to therapy, maybe they don't have the means. Maybe they don't have maybe they've had a bad experience with somebody in their life that's gone to therapy and it didn't help them. But I don't know, be cognizant of what you're saying and what you're doing around them. And it will help so much.
100%. It's crazy. I picked up on something there. The giving away things to me. I've never thought about that, but that's a big sign. Giving shit away, because it's a very simple deduction, isn't it? If they're giving all their belongings away, so that's a big thing. I've never thought about that, and that's that caught me a little bit. And with regards to like asking people if they're okay and things, I'd rather somebody be pissed off at me for keep asking them and still be here.
Amen.
It's really that simple. And therapy, I know it's fucking hard, people. It's so hard. Like I can't sit here and say I've experienced therapy because I haven't. My friends are my therapy. But my fiance's my therapy, actually, let's be real. Poor her. But at the same time, it's fucking hard to get. It's expensive. Our NHS is absolutely chocker at the minute. It's ridiculous. Like I went there to try and get an assessment with ADHD the other day, and they basically told me to fuck off.
Yeah.
They basically said, well, unless you want to wait 5 years and it fuck this up for you, and you have to put it on everything, why are you here? Does it change your life if you're assessed? No. All right, bye. So I understand it's very hard. And again, I'm picking up on so many things you said, which is interesting. It's like, earlier you mentioned, let's help them get through the next hour. Let's help them get through the next day. Let's help them get through the next month. My question to anybody would be, would you send an addict to AA? You would.
No.
Well, not, but any form of, to get help. You would send an addict to get help. And the reason you send an addict to get help is to go a day at a time, to go a month at a time, to go a year at a time. So if your friend's an addict and you would want to help them, why wouldn't you want to help somebody who's struggling mentally to get them through that day, that month, that year? It's the same thing. It
is. It's so incredibly important. It is. And like for me, I went into therapy. I've been in therapy for 2.5 years now. The hardest thing I've ever gone through. But man, I feel so much better.
And you've had a good experience with the same therapist the whole time?
No, I had to speed date my therapist. I went through 3 before I found the one that worked for me.
Speed dating therapist. Hold up. We need to rewind to that. What is this?
So, after the whole incident, my best friend and I created a podcast. And so my co-host, Dirty Skittles, came up with she coined the phrase, speed date your therapist. So I went through the first one. She was not going to do it for me. I went to the second one. She was an oddball. And then finally I found a third one. And that third one was the one I've stuck with for the last 2.5 years.
Third time's the charm.
Third time's the charm. But like speeding your therapist is important, because if you go to therapy and they're not helping you, right, don't stick with it. There are 8 billion types of therapy out there. 8 billion. There's talk therapy, there's art therapy, there's energy therapy, there's tapping, there's talking to your friends. There's all sorts of different kinds of therapies. And do what works for you.
Yeah, 100%. So moving on past all of this, like, we've been through we've spoke about the shit, and now I want to go, let's get positive about this. What steps have you taken yourself to, other than therapy? So it's a well-trodden path, and like you say, it's something that you've got to choose the right therapy, the right therapist, and like the gym is my therapy. Not that I've been recently. And that's another thing, people. If you are fucking obsessed with something, like me with the gym, I was. When you go, a lot of people go to the gym to get through shit, right? A lot of people go to the gym when they're pissed off, when they're sad, all that. I love the gym, but if I'm sad, pissed off, feeling down, I can't do it. So you will notice these things. If you love something and they're stopping doing it, there's something going on.
Right.
You know, for me, it's like podcasting. It's like, so I love three things: streaming video games, podcasting, and the gym. If we take my family out of it, obviously I love them, but I can't choose whether I'm with them or not on a day-to-day basis, you know. There's been many a times, and I'm saying this from a personal aspect of feeling like shit recently. There's been many a times where I've gone, right, I've got a podcast booked. I can't be fucked. Shit. Or I'm meant to stream tonight. I can't be fucked. I can't be asked. I'm not going to do it. The gym. I've procrastinated the gym for about 4 weeks now. And all of these things are because I'm feeling like shit. They're not because I don't want to do it. They're because I've been down in the dumps. And I know I'm saying I'm down in the dumps a lot. I am on the way up, people. So I am okay. But the thing is, if you notice these things in your friends, just ask. Again, it's just ask them. But back to the original question, what is there other than therapy? What is it you would advise people to do for their mental health? To give you an example, my advice to a lot of people, if they do ask me, go for a walk, get some air, go to the gym, work out. You know, but I'd love to hear what your advice would be.
So find something that brings you joy, right? Whether it's, like you said, go outside, you know, get some fresh air, get some sun. Get in your car, go for a drive. Help somebody. A random act of kindness does a world of good for your heart. Remember that you are loved, wanted, and needed in this world. That people need you. And that you're loved. And, you know, and whatever mistake you made today, it'll be better tomorrow. And be kind to yourself. If you're talking negative self-talk to yourself, stop. Okay, we talk worse to ourselves than we would to anybody else. Even worse than if we like texted somebody, right? Like every time we do negative self-talk, it's like that asshole text message that you just want to send out to people. Like, stop doing that, right? Because you're making the situation worse.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, you don't need to be mean to yourself. The world's already being mean to you as it is. So stop.
I read a quote. And I fuck it. It actually made me tear up when I read it. It's when you're older, you're going to look back on life as the good old days, and the days you're doing right now are those good old days. So make them fucking count.
Amen. Yeah.
And that that really hit me. A bit of background: I lost my nan at near Christmas time. And yeah, it sent me really bad. And but it's true. Like, you're gonna look back on life, and you're not gonna be looking back on life tomorrow or the next day. It's gonna be when you're older. And do you really want to look back on life and think, I could have done this, I could have done this, I could have said this, you know? And it's shit, because you will, unfortunately, you will kick yourself. If you know a friend who has taken their own life, or, you know, something like that, you will kick yourself. Fuck, I do. And it's shit. But you can improve, by taking some steps just to be there for people. And my advice for somebody, if you are struggling, is, I think fresh air is very important. Swimming, amazing. Walking, just getting your steps in is great. The gym is awesome, but again, if you're like me, it's not going to work, because I can't focus. You need to find something you can focus on, and then you can get a little bit freaky with me, such as grounding. Grounding is fucking awesome. River swimming, and anything that's going to connect you to Earth, anything that is going to connect you to this fucking planet. And it sounds kooky, people, but we are energy. The Earth is energy. We want positive energy. Being outside in nature is one of the best things you can do. And shit food. What's your opinion on this, Gretchen? Because I think people who eat shit food, they're if you feel down and you're eating shit food, it just makes you feel worse.
It does. Like, if you're feeling down, I don't know, go get an orange. Go have a glass of milk. Don't go to McDonald's and grab a Big Mac and like down that and then go get some Hostess donuts. Those are not going to make you feel better, because in 20 minutes you're going to realize, shit, my stomach hurts, and man, like eat well. And I love the grounding part. That is so important. For those that live like in cold states, like here in upstate New York, we had a horrible winter. Like, I did not want to go outside, but I found ways to ground myself inside. Like, I would open the curtain on the days that we would have sun.
Yeah.
It's a glorious thing, right? I would like let my inner child come out and play. I would go out and make a snowball. I mean, that's part of making yourself feel better, is let your inner child come out and play. When's the last time you let that happen? When's the last time you went out and played kickball or threw a baseball or skipped a rock? Like, those inner child feelings can help re-trigger a thought or a memory in your head that'll make you smile.
Yeah. I mean, that's my favorite part. Not my favorite part, but the best part. One of the best parts about being a dad at the minute. I got a 2-year-old, and it's like I'm doing all the kid shit, and I'm like, this is so fucking fun, man. Yeah. Another thing as well is your brain is like anything else in your body. It is a muscle, and it can be trained. Okay. You actually may disagree with me, because some people do disagree with this. It's very much like, David Goggins says a lot of things. He calls people pussies and whatnot. But what he's actually doing is the right thing to do. You are strengthening your brain. And you mentioned, the only reason I say this, because you mentioned about it's so cold outside. Cold showers are bloody amazing. You want to jump in an ice cold shower and that is one of the hardest things you can do as a person. Wake up in the morning. If you jump in a fucking ice cold shower, if you can conquer that, you can conquer anything. I promise you that. And do you have anything like a notepad where you're writing down positive affirmations, anything like that?
Yeah. So like the two things that my therapist taught me right away were journaling.
Yep.
And boundaries. So I journal every day. I journal twice. I journal in the morning and I journal at night. And it really just helps me like clear my head. And,
sure.
I get all those thoughts down. And it's funny, when I was writing my book, I used my journal to go back to some of those memories, like in the earlier days. And I was like, oh, this was shit, and I'd throw that page out. And this was shit, and I'd throw that page out. But then I like got into some good stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I made progress that day. So, journaling is really, really cool. And, you can put down positive affirmations. You could do this while you're at work, right?
I'll be honest, I've never done it, but I love the idea of it. I've just never done it.
Well, here's the great thing. Like, let's say you're in a meeting, right, at work, and you're supposed to be paying attention to it. And like you kind of like just mentally checked out, just write in your notebook. And if it's something you want to keep it. If not, just throw it check it in the fuck it bucket, man. Because like you may not want to go.
Love that.
You may not want to go back to that thought, but you know what? Here's what happened. You took that thought that was in your head, you put it on paper, and now it's gone. Yeah. Especially if you throw it away. So like with all the bad journal entries that I had in my my notebook, I got them all together and I threw them in the fire. Now they're ashes. Okay.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I always try to do is make every single day count. Every single day, every moment count. Because for me, I have a lot less time now than I had when I was in my 40s. So I'm going to be 62 at the end of this month. So time's not on my side. But I make every single day count. Yeah. The good, the bad, the ugly, But here's things that you can do to make yourself feel better. And I started a ritual. So in January, I decided that every morning when I get up, I'm going to watch a 20-minute funny video.
Okay.
And here's the thing about laughter. It releases your cortisol.
Yeah.
It gets some serotonin going and gets your endorphins going. And it can be anything. Like right now I'm hooked on like Baby Raccoon and goat movies, okay? But they make me laugh. And then
Sure.
after that, I get up and I speak out loud what I'm grateful for each day. Because being grateful for what you have is incredibly important.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it could be grateful that, like, yeah, I didn't trip over the dirty clothes in my bedroom, or I'm grateful that I have a beautiful house, or I'm grateful that I'm not depressed today. Those are all things that you can be grateful for. And don't take life so seriously. Like
100%.
Listen, I am an old lady, okay, but I'm just telling you, don't take life so seriously. It's going to change.
Sure. And the boundaries. So what you said you learn about boundaries. Tell me about boundaries.
Boundaries are amazing. And if you haven't set them now, don't wait until you're 59 and a half to set them. As an empath, I'm so used to, having people, suck all the life out of me. So what boundaries allow me to do is they taught me how to put my shield up so that I can reflect some of that energy back onto them. And I also have like a drama box. It's an imaginary box, but if it smells like drama, it doesn't get to come in anymore. It has to meet like 3 criteria. If it doesn't meet the criteria, then you're on your own. But I will tell you that since I did start setting boundaries, I've lost a lot of friends.
100%.
But I'm okay with that. You know why? Because they were the people that were sucking the life out of me. And I allowed them to do that because I didn't have the tools on how to like make it go away. And it's a great way to lose friends, but it is also a great way to take back your life, right?
Yeah.
Like we just talked about on our podcast about boundaries and boundaries at work, and just remember that they don't own you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The power of no is the absolute best thing you can accomplish in your life, because they don't teach you that in school, right? You didn't learn about mental health or boundaries or, being an extrovert or introvert in school, but learning how to talk to people, like, set those boundaries and, stick with them. And for me, like as a business owner, I also have business boundaries. Like I won't work after 5:30.
Yeah.
I won't work on Mondays. I decided to take every Monday off between now and when it gets cold again. I want to enjoy the outdoors.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, like I do things now that I never thought about 5 years ago. And if you'd asked me 5 years ago if this was in the wheelhouse, it wasn't. But neither was a mental health breakdown.
Yeah.
And it was truly the catalyst that got me where I am today.
And it's just, again, these boundaries is crazy because like I'm linking things together in my head here. So like I'm finding a lot of links between somebody who's a recovering addict and somebody who's been through a bout of depression and getting out of it, because with somebody who's a recovering addict, they have to cut these people out. The people who are drinking and things like that, they cut them out, the people who are forcing them. And it's the same with if you're feeling depressed or you have mental health issues or issues that sounds really, I'm not being negative, but you're struggling with your mental health, is the people who don't positively affect your life, why the fuck are they there?
Yeah.
If you had a plate of food and you had all the good shit, and then you had, for me, mashed potato, I fucking hate mash, but you had a plate of food and you had steak, broccoli, mushrooms, peppercorn sauce, just all the good shit, and then there was a bit of mash on there, you wouldn't keep the mash there. You would fuck it off, right? That would be gone because it's not for you. It's negatively impacting your food. Look at people like that. And guess what? When you say bye to one, the second one gets easier. When you say bye to the second one, the third one gets easier. And it's very, very simple. And also these people, if they're negatively affecting you, they probably don't give a shit about you either. So it's not really going to matter too much.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love that analogy. That was such a great analogy. I love that. Learn how to put your shields up. Learn how to, take care of you.
Yeah.
And, these are buzzwords, like self-care and self-love are buzzwords, but I'm going to tell you, they are absolutely not fucking buzzwords. If you are not taking care of yourself, there's no way you can take care of anybody else. Absolutely not.
100%. 100%. I've learned that being a dad is like, again, another analogy is like being a dad. When you're sick, you can't look after your child, but you can't help being sick, but you can help taking care of yourself. So fucking do it, people. I love to finish these episodes with a great question, and I've just started it. So you're going to be my first person I'm going to ask this to. It's a new segment. Okay, people. And I'm going to carry it on. I just have to remember every time I record. I would like to know what Gretchen's perfect day is. You can choose the day, Sunday. I love Sundays. You choose a day, and I'd just like to know what your perfect day would be.
My perfect day is a Monday, out on the shore, casting my fishing rod out into the water, and just being at peace with nature. That is and it's crisp outside. It's like a fall morning.
Yeah.
It's crisp. The leaves are changing. Like you can smell fall in the air, and you feel the crispness of the water. That is my absolutely perfect dream day.
And what are you fishing for? I love fishing.
Whatever's in the water, because we've only lived up in upstate New York for 5 years, so I'm not really sure what runs up here. But like if I caught a trout or even like a perch, you know what? It's a fish, and I see it and it dangles a little bit, and I'm like, oh, little buddy, you need to go, because we don't keep what we catch. I'm all about catch and release, but there's something about being out in nature that is. It brings peace to my heart, and I'll thank my dad and my grandfathers for. I was always the one to tag along with them when they went fishing. None of my other cousins wanted to go, but it was me, and that time with them, and teaching me about nature and helping me appreciate it. And so just spending that time out there, that is where I find my peace.
100%.
Thankfully, like up here in upstate New York, in our house, we have about 40 headed deer that live in the forest right behind us, and they'll come and visit. And you'll see them like walking through the yard, and you'll see the doe with the little fawns, and
wow,
like I'm the original like Snow White. I'm the country bumpkin version of Snow White, but it allows me to be at peace with myself. And yeah, I had that really hard shit that happened, but I turned my life around. And if I can mention just one more thing.
Oh, we got time, don't you worry.
So like one more thing that I did that helped, that was part of my healing journey, is that my co-host Dirty Skills and I launched a podcast. And it was a mental health focused podcast. And our mission has always been to normalize how we talk about mental health because of my own journey.
Yep.
We didn't think anybody would listen to us. Okay. Truly the joke is on us. But our mission is to allow people to come on and share their stories, because every time we share our stories, we unlock somebody else's prison.
Yeah.
And the great thing about podcasts and podcasters like you and I is that we're not geographical based.
Yeah.
Like you can hear us anywhere in the world. And we got a message today from somebody that listened to us thanking us for our episodes because they felt seen and felt heard. And so I'm so proud of you for doing the work that you're doing and your incredible podcast. And
I appreciate that.
It warms my heart that we're out there doing the work. We're making the world a better place, one conversation at a time.
Doing my very best. I'm doing my very best. I've just thought I'd need to ask you one more thing before you go. I got it. Did you ever get offered any medication?
I did not. I am okay. People are gonna like get all over me, but like I'm kind of anti-doctor.
Fucking come on. Yes.
And the reason I am is like in my 40s, I had a lot of surgeries, right? And I ended up getting MRSA and a bunch of things. And, all the doctors ever want to do is like prescribe you medicine that's not really going to help.
They're trying to say they try to heal the symptom, not the cause.
Not the cause. And for me, like, I kind of knew what the cause was. Like after I talked to 988, they gave me some ideas of what was going on in my head. And so I just stuck with therapy. And like, there's other natural things I could do to help elevate my mood that aren't going to fuck up my liver, aren't going to fuck up my kidneys, aren't going to mask some other symptom out there. So I'm all about like natural medicine.
Yes.
Okay. And people are going to be like, oh, well, you could have, no, I don't want to go to the doctor. Okay. No, it's not happening.
Say it louder for the bitches at the back, because I promise you now, these doctors, they give you these tablets, people. And listen, it does work for somebody. I get that. It's the same as like AA. It works for some people, not everybody, and so on. But the thing is, just read the fucking label, because they're giving you, I don't know what they call it, like sertraline or whatever they fucking give. And the side effects of these tablets may cause anxiety.
Yeah.
May cause
those thoughts again.
And you're like, what the fuck am I doing? The problem is, if your doctor isn't offering you therapy and they're just trying to give you tablets, they are just treating the symptom. They're not treating the cause. Now, some people don't have a root cause, which I understand. Again, to harken back to myself, because it's the best way I can explain it is, I don't have a root cause for how down I felt recently. It's not like a root cause going back to my childhood or anything like that. It is literally very much like Gretchen here. A load of shit just happened and you bottle it up. So no tablet's gonna save you from these situations. You can't take a magic tablet and, let's say you're at the end of, you're really fucking struggling and then your car breaks down. That tablet isn't going to fix your car, people. It's unfortunate, and I wish it fucking would for you, but it's not. It's just going to numb you to that pain. And then in a few weeks' time, a few months' time, your car's still going to be broken. So work on fixing that car, because you'll be outside doing it.
And to add to your analogy, right? Like, if you are going to a doctor, just like I said about speed dating your therapist, speed date your doctors, right? Like, if you are taking these pills and they are not helping, then you need another doctor. But you also need to work on fixing your brain. There's chemicals in our brain that make us a little messed up. And for those people out there that need medicine, I totally get it. I have friends out there that need that medicine, and I'm all for you. But for me, I didn't do any medicine. I did things that I knew that were going to make me feel better, and I really listened and was super in tune with my therapist. And yeah, she said some shitty things to me, but it was shit that I needed to fix for myself that nobody else could fix.
Yeah, and you will notice that my advice would be, regarding the doctors, try other things first. Just try going for a walk, see how you feel, please. Because there's nothing worse than seeing somebody who's on this pill all day, and it numbs the person you are. I can't imagine what I'd be like if I was taking some mind-numbing drug. Again, it does work if it's a chemical imbalance in your brain, which is a thing. It will work. But if you are not just depressed, but please understand what I'm saying, people. If you're struggling mentally and it's not a disorder, shall we say, a BPD or anything like that, please try and naturally resolve your issues and resolve what's going through your head before making that step. From my personal experience, 70% of my family are on these tablets, and honestly, they don't fucking need to be. And I tell them, and I've seen the difference it can make. So yeah, that's a heartfelt bit from Joshy J at the end there. Gretchen, is there anything else you'd like to say to the listeners before?
So if you want to learn more about me, there's a couple of places you can go. If you want to learn more about our podcast, you can go to goesonourheads.net. That's not truly the name of the podcast. The name of the podcast is Shit That Goes On in Our Heads. And it's shit with an exclamation point, because I don't know, apparently shit is still a naughty word. But also, if you need to, if you want to reach out more about my business, you can go to schosersolutions.com. And if you are depressed and you just want to reach out to somebody, hit my DMs. I am 100%. On social media every day.
So is Josh to people. So is Josh. I really appreciate you coming on, Gretchen. It's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And I'll put all of Gretchen's links will be in the bio, people. So yeah, I appreciate you all listening. And please, just if you did like what you listened to, or just like the sound of my voice or Gretchen's voice, I think I sound cute. I'm just saying. Give it a like, comment, follow, subscribe, share it with your friends as well, because you don't know who this could help. And this isn't me just doing this for the algorithm, slightly, but at the same time, this could help somebody, and that's the aim. Is this podcast has evolved as we've gone through. It's gone from a comedy piece of like junk, which was kind of funny, to talking about conspiracies and marijuana and shit, to this. And the name Let's Get Chatting, as I said, is more than just the name of the podcast. Let's get chatting to each other, people. I love you all. Peace out. Thanks for listening. Bye.